All right, Rob, Mike, you are heard and not seen. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And now I'm heard and heard.
No, I fixed it. That was me. I fixed it real quick.
You fixed it real quick.
I don't know why it does that. I always have the sound turned off, and as soon as I reopen it again, it turns it back on.
Which is really funny because for me, it always mutes it when I first turn it on.
Thanks, Moose. Good to see you, Jeff. Hello, Manda, as always. Josh, hello, my friend.
That's weird. I'm suddenly not seeing... There it is. Okay.
Don't do that to me, Rob.
Well, no, it was weird because I'm hearing the music and I know it's playing, and it was like the starting screen was there and then like disappeared. It was just like black. So, it's
Gotcha.
back.
Hey, Pat. Look at the emojis. They're so pretty.
Emoji explosion.
We have some very cool emojis from Mike and Taryn. You can see overgourds and all kinds of fun emojis in the chat.
I've got to come up with ideas for 3 more animated emojis. Because I suddenly have 3 more slots. I'm like, I don't know what to do with them.
Make it happen. Hello,
Yeah.
Insomniate RPG. Welcome, new chatter. And we're going to go ahead and kick this up. We only have an hour, less than an hour, so we're going to go straight to the chat tonight. And here we go. 3, 2, and 1. You are both seen and heard. Hello and welcome to Blue Box. This is Lore Masters Arcanum episode 95, I think, if I have it right. And we are joined tonight by, as always, Robert. And Robert, we're going to talk about you in a moment. But tonight our special guest is Mike Disney. And of course, Mike, you were a star for us on Friday as we celebrated the OverGourd last week. But before we jump into that, Robert, I want to celebrate you. Today, you were the mod of the day in our Discord, and the overflow of love from the community. I would like folks to pop in chat. Your favorite Robert moments. Anything from his stream, from his comments in Discord, from times he's played in our games here on Blue Box. Go ahead and just pop anything in the chat that you have. And then, Robert, I want to go to you first. Tell us something that meant... stuck out to you today. You're a traveler. You've gone, Kristen, Vivi, Kayla. You've traveled. You've gone so many places. You are always engaging members of the community. What stood out to you today?
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't warn him. I just did it.
Stand out. That's hard because I mean, read all these things and. It's a beautiful thing to read, and it's kind of funny. It ended up being kind of perfect because, like, last night I did not get a good night's sleep, so it's like the serotonin boost from the chat today and the all the posts is just absolutely wonderful. It's knowing that people appreciate you is something that you never get tired of it. It's something that never stops feeling good, and it just makes you want to just continue doing more and just keep doing what you're doing. And I've said so many times that what this place means to me, and it's like, and I'll post it later in the Discord for people to read. But I'm not used to being popular. I never was. I know. I mean,
it's hard to. It's literally hard to believe. You're so.
It is.
Wait. I'm going to cut you off, but just to celebrate. So, what do people say about, like, the biggest thing you hear over and over again about Robert is what, Mike? His big,
approachable he is.
big heart. Like, Rob, you have a big heart. Everyone sees it. That you didn't feel that way before is shocking to me, but you are that guy.
Like I said, I don't know what it was, and it was a weird thing because I mean, I've been online for a long time, so being in an online community. I mean, granted, it's something we all have a common D&D and other gaming and geekdoms and such, but when we had the first Blue Box Con, I went down there. It was like everybody was the same way to me in person that they were online. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I don't understand this. It's like, so, just reading all the notes and, it's like we went to have the second Blue Box Con and I was like, all right, well, is it going to be, am I going to have that same feeling? And it was more. It was just more. I mean, it just didn't stop. And this community has never failed to support me in anything I do. I'll have random, I'll throw a random stream up and I'll have 14 people in the chat. And, I mean, I might have anywhere from 7 to 14 people. And those 14, they're just going to chat. I mean, they're just going to keep talking through the entire thing. I don't have to worry about being there talking to myself, which,
right.
As a streamer, sometimes, you kind of have to get used to sometimes, especially if you're doing it on odd hours or on short notice. Never have to worry about it because somebody's always...
Short notice, was that a shot at me?
No.
I'm teasing, Rob.
I'm talking, deciding 3 hours beforehand that I'm going to do a stream that day.
Right.
It's like, if even that. It's such a good feeling, having people show up on Friday nights the way they do, have people, volunteer for games and show up for those games. And, I've met so many people in the community. I just, if I haven't met you in person yet, I want to. So please come to Blue Box Con because I will be there.
That's a fantastic segue. So as we get ready to move to talking about Mike Disney, Amanda, I see you very active in chat. Thank you. Can you put up a poll and say, should we have Blue Box Con 3 in 2023? I love the fact that the decades line up with the year. So it's 2023 is the third Blue Box Con. Yes, no, I know, heck no. Are you crazy? You figure out the poll, Amanda. I want to see the interest level. My hope is that there's a lot of interest. Why is that a poll? Because I want to see. That's why. Rob, tonight we are joined by among the most august guests.
Uh-oh.
You could not imagine a more powerful created force than Mike Disney. Mike, Dread was a fun character you played. You jump on Twitch daily painting. I have right here. I have multiples of these pale lords. I have all more. I have this. I have all that. You are incredible. I know that makes you uncomfortable. I'm sorry. I don't care. Mike, you're amazing. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Hey, Lando. Thank you, Mike. In the process of... No worries. She can take her time. All right, so let's jump into the OverGourd. And the main topic I had tonight was the evolution of the gourd. Now, Mike, I'm going to pull up here your stat block for the OverGourd CR20. Gargantuan Aberration CR20. Talk to us. You've already given us before on streams how he was created. It was very spontaneous on a stream. But now how you envision this creature growing and what it's meant to you in terms of your creative outlet into the community.
Well, for growing the OverGourd, I just like to see everybody using him. And this Halloween, I've played in 3 separate games of people using the OverGourd as a monster, and that's pretty cool. That's all I really wanted, was for people to use the OverGourd in their D&D game and take these stats that are in my Discord and use them for what they will. Change them to 3.5 or first edition or second edition, whatever they want to do. It's easy to do this kind of thing with stats, especially if you're an experienced DM. It's very easy to do. But to see where he goes, I like all of the different levels, the different challenge rating levels of the Overgore, because any party can go up against something that deals with him. You can create literally a whole campaign around this character. He's a massive bad guy, like I've said before. He's
Right.
like your Jason Voorhees, your Mike Myers, and your Leatherface all rolled up into one. He's a murdering machine. He does not want to stop murdering. He wants to keep coming, and he'll use all of his means to do that. And with the split up challenge rating over Gorge, you can really spread fear into your characters through your entire campaign.
Which is what all of us want to do: spread fear into our characters, right?
Yes.
Robert, I do want you to be able to kind of jump in here in a moment, but before you do, I want, if you would, Mike, tell us about the Overgourd origin story. You don't have to, not how it came about on your stream and how Reaper picked it up, but like what the Overgourd is. You've said it before, but I think it's good for this new audience to hear.
Oh, okay. I have the lore poured up. I could read it if you wanted me
Perfect.
to. But,
Yep.
Are you sure you want me to read it? It's a bit lengthy.
You pick. Yes, you can read it all, or you can pick and choose.
Well, we'll just give you the short version of it. There was a witch in a town that had her hut was in the middle of a huge pumpkin patch, the biggest pumpkin patch you've ever seen. And the townspeople put up with her and let her be there because she wasn't doing any harm. But what do witches do? In every fairy tale, what are witches known for doing that's the absolute most evilest thing you could ever do? What are they known for doing? Eating children. Almost every fairy tale, there's a witch that wants to eat a child.
Yep.
And, well, that's what she did. She ate a child, so the townspeople came after her, threw her over the biggest pumpkin in her pumpkin patch that they could find, and they went to chop her head off. And right before they chopped her head off, she spit out a spell, a reincarnation spell, that her spirit would file into the closest living thing as soon as she was struck down. And of course, the closest living thing was the pumpkin. And the trails of blood from her decapitation made fingers and turned into vines within the pumpkin patch, and that's what led to the tentacles, not the tentacles, but what am I talking about here? The stalks.
The vines, yeah.
That's what led to the pumpkin stalks of the Overgourd, and of course, the pumpkin that she was thrown over turned into the Overgourd and killed everybody in the field that came to witness her execution, and escaped. Of course, went off into the night cackling.
And so as people are fantastic, Mike, and as people are playing that monster, the gourdlets, the seeds that are cast out, the smaller gourds, how does that work?
If you ever damage the Overgourd at all, any seed that he drops turns into an Overgourdlet. And Overgourdlets can eventually turn into Overgourds if they live long enough. So you can have more than one Overgourd running around at one time, but there is only one true Overgourd, which we can use your name, the Elder Gourd. We can use that. That's a great name for this guy. I love growing him like that. I never thought of that kind of a name, but they're a hive mind. The overgourds are a hive mind.
Oh, holy crap. I missed that, Mike. So there are not multiple overgourds or elder. There is one as part of the hive mind. And so whatever you choose to make that in your game world, which is where I want to go, like, because you're all about letting DMs and creators adapt this concept into their world. And your concept is that the overgourd, whatever you call him, there is a hive concept overall.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. What one sees, they all see. You know what I mean? So you can never run from the overgourd. As long as there's an overgourd or an overgourdlet, one of his minions around you, you can never hide, because he will always find you.
Okay. My mind is racing now because I have new ideas. Robert, go ahead. Jump in before I say something.
I'm not gonna lie. When the first time I saw the thing of the drawing of the overgourd, yeah, even before I saw the figure, my first thought was, I will never watch the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown the same way ever again. Oh my goodness, it is, you think a beholder looks terrifying. That just looks positively chilling. That is one. It is, just creepy and scary in all the right ways. I guess. How did you decide on what the powers it was going to have?
I followed beholder builds.
Okay.
Pretty much went from there. I wanted to stick to as close, because beholders are evil, and I wanted to create something that a witch's hatred and seething anger could turn into, over a circular object like a pumpkin. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, a beholder would fit that. So that's what I turned it into.
Mike, when you went through this and you saw the stocks, following up on Robert's question, the stocks that came up and you were comparing it to a beholder, which one got you most excited? Like disintegration rays or charming, mass suggestion, with very powerful. Like what did you really like in those actions that felt most gourdish? Scrying is pretty cool. I love the way he talks, to players' minds.
I like how he can. I like the hive mind thing. I like how he can talk through his minions and create them. That's my favorite thing about him. But if I'd have to pick a stock power, or one of his powers, period, I would pick the charm.
That mass suggestion and charm. Honestly, I feel like I've not played the gourd as well as I could have. I've run him twice now, but I feel like if I ran him as powerfully as it could be run, I would kill everyone unconditionally, irrevocably. They would all be dead. And he is powerful. Circle of Death, teleportation, force cage, feeble mind, time stop. I used time stop last year. I did not use it this year. Incredibly powerful.
Yep.
Well, one of the things about beholders, never mind, what the overgourd can do, but just general beholders, it's one of those creatures where you run into a problem because characters, unless they've faced one before, shouldn't know, unless there's some mechanic in the game where they've gone and studied the thing.
Exactly.
They shouldn't know what a beholder can do other than perhaps by rumor. And, it's one of those creatures where you can't be figuring that out on the fly. Because if you don't know how to kill a beholder when you come up and face it, it's going to kill you. You have to get extremely lucky not to just get wiped to have the beholder wipe the floor with you if you're not sure what you're doing. And this just, well, nobody knows what the Overgourd is, so how do you fight something that powerful when you don't know what it can do and all the things that it can do? Assuming the DM decides to use all of the powers.
Mike?
Mass suggestion, mass the charm and everything.
You know, he is a powerful creature. I mean, and of course we're looking at the challenge rating 20 right now. So that's any CR 20 creature is damn near impossible to take down. They're hard monsters.
So, Mike, and by the way, the Blue Box Con, I saw the note. It was like, okay, it'll happen. All right. So, thank you all. Mike, you saw how the Blue Box community brought down the Overgourd on Friday.
Yeah. Yep.
What did you think about that?
I thought it was a little too easy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't even think he really damaged many of us, did he?
Well, he fried me with my own spell.
Yeah. He threw. That's right. He threw lightning back at us.
Right.
And that first one took me down. The first thing that he did to us took us down to half health. If there was anything that I could take back from Friday, it would have been having us decide where we were when we faced the thing, because the three of us being in a line.
Yeah, you guys were all lined up exactly.
Yeah.
But Mike, I think you're on the right track. He was a little bit easy, only for the sake of the story that night, and he was not killed, all right, but he was charmed. He was serenaded. And Mike, do you really think I should have resisted having Vivi sing to the Overgourd?
No, because it made for a great role play. I mean, that was awesome, But I don't know. I think we defeated him just a little bit too easily. I'm glad that he got away without being killed.
Yeah, took Dread with him.
It took Dread with him. Yep. He did grab one of us. I think it was just a little bit too easy.
I agree. I thought you would say that, and I actually agree with you. I think we were about 4 hours in on a one shot, and when you're Twitch streaming and one shot, you're always trying to manage that. But if I were to play the Overgourd straight up and with no respect to Twitch or time, there would have been more to it. So, Mike, let's flip the script. You're the DM, and Vivi is charming the Overgourd with the song. What happens next?
Oh.
No, I'm putting you on the spot. It like the chat will love it. It's fun. And while you're thinking, you must admit, few have made the Overgourd look more glorious than what you see on the screen right now. Is that not? I mean, every time I look at that, I get Bill the Master Crafter. Thank you so much. The Fog Machine, the painting of Mike Disney. That is what faced our party on Friday night. Even if I made him easy, I still made him over glorious.
It looked good, that's for sure.
All right, so you're back on the spot. The bard charms. Vivi sings. What happens?
If I don't fail...
He did.
He did fail.
Yeah, but I could have used the legendary action, which he has, right, in 5e. I could have chosen to ignore the failed saving throw, but I didn't.
Right. Well, that's what I would have done. I would have chosen to ignore the failed saving throw, and sensing how close she was to charming me, I would make her my main target and try to do anything I can to keep her from doing anything like that again.
Yeah. I like that. No, that makes sense. And I think that goes hand in hand with what happened last year, where Finn, who ran away, was impregnated with a seed. And who knows what happened to this party. It seems like they got away, but you never know. Damage was done. Mistakes were made.
Damage was done.
I like you. I shall kill you last. Vivi gets smoked. All right, so we had a couple of questions. One was Mike. When you go to Disney World, do people look at you like you're the boss and ask you if they should be allowed in?
Who asked that?
It was up earlier here. Let me find it. I think it was, no, it was not Josh. Where was it? Yeah, it was Justinius. So Mike, question, when you go to Disney World, do the ticket takers think you are an undercover boss?
No. I haven't been to Disney since I was a little kid. Very little kid. Now I heard, it's a rumor that if I if I have my ID on me and I can prove my last name's Disney, and I get in for free, but I don't know that.
Oh, well, that would be cool.
Yeah. Well, how many people you know with the last name Disney?
One.
Exactly.
So Rob, you were a player. You've seen. What would you have done differently on Friday night as a DM? I know you already said as a player, you would not have been closely aligned. And I don't mean this in a sort of generic way. I mean specifically, like you're looking at a one shot, and I actually am. This is helpful because we have many people here that DM. We have many folks that run things on Twitch, and that's always the challenge that you face. So what would you have done differently with the OverGourd at that point?
So, I mean, I don't know which CR version of the OverGourd you were using for
the
this.
20. Yeah.
You were using the 20?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, I mean, the thing with the one shot is you're not, as a one shot, I'm not it's kind of almost expected sometimes that, especially in a one like this, the characters are going to die. It's, you're not doing, you're not like, these are not personal characters and such. They're they're specifically for this game. I probably might have gone with a lower CR one and then just let loose with it, because CR20, if you let loose, the thing's going to wipe the floor. We're only 7th level characters.
Yeah.
Right.
And you took out half my hit points on a thing I saved on.
That's what I did. Yes.
Between legendary actions, the only way that fight goes anywhere is if the other characters are able to do stuff that forces him to use legendary actions, so I can bring out the big boom. And even then, I only have 1 4th level spell and a couple of 3rd level spells. CR20, that thing's got to. I mean, the amount of hit points that has, I'm not going to be able to. I'm not going to be able to do much. It's like my character.
437.
It's just, yeah. I mean, even if I did max damage on my lightning bolts, it wasn't going to be enough to.
No, Pat Draws had a crit. He did good damage, but it was not enough. So
and we're not doing spell crits, so which is the other.
Oh, I do spell crits. Yes.
Oh, how does that work on a spell with the? Is it if they roll that one on their save?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I use blood wilds. I use Steve's. So Steve has spell crits, and for me, if they roll a nat 1 on the save, that becomes a spell crit. Or if it's like a touch attack and they roll a 20 on the touch attack, that can also be.
Because like I have that was one of the things I did was I made sure I had spells that some were saves, some were spell attacks, because I remember when we did this last year with the Bard, he saved on everything. It was like the Bard felt kind of useless at that point.
Well,
so it's like it was a lot. I mean, it was a lot of fun making up spell things on the fly, but I wasn't doing anything to the creature.
Oh, so what you're saying, Robert, is that you feel like your bard last year did not get the favor that Vivi's bard got this year. I'm teasing, Rob.
Maybe I should have tried to seduce the thing. I don't know. I was too busy songwriting while I was thinking.
No, it's that. I mean, I think the rule of cool is overdone, but I've always believed in it as a mechanism, and you've got to realize as a DM when the moment is there to take it, and that's
yeah, absolutely.
That's, I think, an important part of. But the point here is the Overgourd is ridiculously powerful and should be played as such. Now, Mike, coming back to you, so. It's hard to resist. Yes, exactly. So in the chat, there was another question I missed. He was wine and dine to get that girthy stem. Thank you, Larry. Blood Wild, we just talked about your crit tables. Start from the beginning, thanks. No. What am I missing in the chat here? Oh, Cameron, hello, welcome. Didn't see you up earlier in the chat. Legendary resistance. Yeah, it's a legendary. You can do that, yes. And I didn't. Let's see what else. How did the pitch concept of the Overgourd to Reaper? Oh, how did you pitch it? So you've talked about that before, Mike, but obviously some haven't heard it. So Josh Iculus asked this. How was the Overgourd picked up by Reaper?
Okay. It was during the drawing of it. I was drawing it, and I thought to myself while I was drawing it, there was about 60 people in my stream this day too. It was October 4th, 2018. And I was drawing it, and I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? I would love to fight this thing on a D&D table. Who would like to see this as a miniature? I'm sure that I'm not the only one. So I asked the chat, I was like, hey, you guys, who would want to see this as a miniature? And who feels like going over to Reaper onto their Facebook and posting they want to have this as a miniature, come see what I'm doing. So they did. They came over and they saw like almost right away what they came into the chat. They saw what I was doing, and before the end of the stream I had an email asking, you know, if I wanted to make this into a miniature.
I don't think I realized that was before the end of the stream. You already had that?
Yeah, it was before the end of the stream. They had already asked me.
It's amazing.
That is amazing, Mike. That is so cool. But at some point, you have to realize that your talent goes well beyond this one creation, and I'm sure there will be something more and something more from Mike Disney. So we're going to come back to the Overgourd, but is there anything already sort of on the horizon? Thank you, Amanda. I see the question. I'll ask it in a moment. Anything on the horizon, Mike, that you're working on that we should be looking for as a community?
Not right now. No, I'm just right now. All I've been doing is really painting up stuff to fill up my Etsy store, and like I just finished a art trade with Vivi. I painted her up an Overgourd. She's painting me up a Beholder. What else have I been painting? That's
one excellent trade.
That is well done.
That's pretty much it. You know, I have no designs going out. Taryn and I have been working on a couple of things here and there, but it's still in the like really baby stages of it. So I do have a whole bunch of art for a coloring book that Zambies and I were going to put together, but we're still working on that as well, looking for a publisher. So
okay.
That's still a little bit to come, but that's, if we put that coloring book out, it'll be a big coloring book. There's, I think, 24 pieces of art. We'll do single-sided pages, so that way if you use markers, it's not going to bleed through to the other side and ruin any other pictures. You know, it's there's some stuff going on.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So a question that we have in the chat, Mike, is how do you, as a player, and we'll let you answer this first, Rob, and then we'll go to Mike. But Rob, you've been a player. Mike has been a player facing the Overgourd. In the player seat, how do you avoid metagaming when you're dealing with iconic baddies? And this could be any, like Strahd, could be any, like, the creature. You're facing Tiamat. How do you avoid metagaming that? The state of these creatures are ingrained in my brain. Thank you, Cameron. How do you play smart without doing too much and metagame? We'll go to you first, Rob.
Yeah, so for creatures like that, I mean, it's one of those things where this is where the role play really needs to come in, because we have a tendency, and it may be a video game thing. You're used to, I want to get to the end. I want to fight the big bad. These are the type of things that a character, as a character, I'd want to study. I want to know. I want to find out what the weaknesses are. And you can develop entire campaign on trying to figure out how to kill the big bad.
Right.
Entire quest story arc just based on that, because when you're fighting something on the level of a beholder, or an ancient dragon, or heaven forbid you're fighting Tiamat or something on that level, you better know how you're going to kill this thing before you get there. That's this is not something you do on a seat of your pants and just hope. And even somebody like Strahd, this is a character he's the master of his domain. He can literally bring the entire thing against you. You better figure out, because you may only get one shot at it, and you better be ready to take it when it comes, because you're not going to last very long. It's a war of attrition, and he's going to have the upper hand. So you need to know what you're doing, and you need to figure that out as soon as you possibly can. That's, to me, getting that knowledge organically through the game is how I get past the metagame portion of it. It's also why, for one shot, sending them up against Beholder or Overgourd or
Tiamat,
whatever. It's fine. You're there to have, what it is, but like in a campaign thing, it's not something that you just suddenly toss in front of the players, because you're going to kill them, and it's going to be bad. And without them having that impetus to go and study what it is they're up against, they're probably good, unless they get extremely lucky, or they're just going to get the floor wiped with them.
You know how well that was said, Rob? That was said as well as the mod of the day would say it. Bravo, sir. Now, we're going to come back and ask about the psionics question. I love that, and I have an answer for my game world. But, Mike, same question to you. How do you, as a player, especially as the creator of this creature, avoid the metagaming temptation when you're fighting it?
Well, the biggest part about Dungeons and Dragons is the role-playing. And I think that's what it comes down to, is the role-playing of your character and role-playing your character correctly. If you role-play the character correctly, obviously your character has no freaking idea what the Overgourd is, or the Beholder, or Tiamat, or whatever. They don't know unless they've actually said to the DM, or they have it on their character sheet, that they have studied these creatures.
Right.
Then you would have a little bit of knowledge about it. But even then, you're not going to know every single thing about it, especially with Beholders, since every single Beholder is different.
Have you never felt the temptation, though, Mike? I mean, I forget the Overgourd. Through your playing days, never. I think Cameron's question is, have you never felt the temptation to use that metagame knowledge?
Oh, when I was younger, all the time. I would tell other players, I was guilty of playing other people's characters, and I was a horrible metagamer back when I was younger. But once I found out but metagaming wasn't even a term back then. Not to me. I didn't know what it was. And once I found out what it was, and table etiquette and other stuff like that, I stopped my habits and cut them out totally and started playing right.
Nice. All right. So next question, Mike, is would the Overgourd be damaged by psionics?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So any additional points or thoughts on that, or just a yes?
Just a yes. He would psionics damage just about everything, I think. Don't they? What's immune to psionics? Spirits, I think.
Yeah. Anything like there are certain undead would be immune to psionics, but in general, any sentient creature should be vulnerable to psionics. I agree. Now, Rob, that same question: why is that important to Blue Box?
There's some shady star place that
Shady Star? Did you just call it Shady Star? What?
Shady Star.
I have Rich Baker coming on December 7th, I think. Where is it here? It's somewhere. I have multiples of these. Here's
I
one.
promise not to call it Shady Star in front of him.
No, so yes, psionics are a big part of this. Thank you, Antiquitous Alexander. I've had conversations this week again, and we will have the Rich Baker of D&D lore. He did much more than Dark Sun. He has created so much content. I can't say too much right now, but if you think of so many of the most incredible components of the game, he has created classes, abilities. What's your favorite ability of a paladin, Rob?
Oh,
Is it lay on hands? Is it the mercies, smite evil? Is it?
I mean, for me, because of the fact that I'm going back to 1E, lay on hands was like the signature move for paladin for me. It's the thing that set them apart, like from the beginning. Back then, they could also cast. They at high levels they could cast clerical spells, but lay on hands was the thing that grew with them, and it was the thing that was different from everybody else. I'm trying to remember the other things that tied into them, because I keep thinking of things that were tied into the Holy Avenger as well.
You'll have to wait.
The fact that they have a class, specifically a class weapon that is, Paladin would strive for was also the other one. The Holy Avenger was.
I know, like what kid, as Holy Avenger, Vorpal Blade. That's all any kid wanted, right?
There's one other because when I was playing D&D early on, that was also when shortly after I started playing D&D, I also got into comics, and I was into Thor in a big way. And you have the trio in Thor, the girdle, the girdle of giant strength. It can be any of them, but of course you want to storm giant strength if you could. The gauntlets of ogre power and a hammer of thunderbolts, because you had to have the girdle and the gauntlets.
But that's three different things. Yes, you're right.
Oh, believe me, I would beg, borrow, and steal to convince a DM to let me go on quests for that.
Rob, next week, this is our topic. Favorite magic items. The deck of many things. There are so many fun, like using a portable hole and a bag of holding together, and what happened with that. Like there are so many fun things to
breaking staffs of staffs of the Magi and staffs of power, filling it up with charges, and I have a story about that.
Okay, so that's going to be next week. That's already our topic. Now, Mike, follow-up question on the psionics. Because we know psionics can damage the Overgourd, in theory, if the attack was directed at the internal seeds to explode, would that be the ideal Requiem stroke to the Overgourd? Just for my notes and those who are watching. Thank you, Joffrey.
That would be the only way I could see. But if anything, just one seed gets out, that's what I'm saying. To be able to psionically make every seed in him explode, we all know how many seeds are in a pumpkin. That'd be damn near impossible. I don't know. I don't know if that would fly.
Yeah, good point. All right.
You'd have to. I think the best way to battle an Overgourd would be acid. acid would be the best way to deal with if there's some kind of psionic ability that you can create an acid bubble inside of him, then maybe I think that would work.
That makes sense. Manda, thank you. You're doing a great job as a mod. There's one thing you're missing tonight, Manda, as the mod, which is to ban Pat Draws. He must be horribly, viciously, and irrevocably banned. He has asked, one, why does John keep bringing up the lamest game system ever made? Which, no, not at all. True, no, wrong. Secondly, he said, where was it? No, I'm going to ignore that one. There is no proper way to play a paladin. I'm sorry, Pat. You are banned. You are banned. Perma-banned, Pat. There is proper way to play a paladin, no doubt. Other questions from Mike Disney on the OverGourd. I have a couple I want to follow up with here toward the end of our talk tonight, but I mean, I think this has been so much fun, Mike, just to go through this with you.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
So, I'll say I have a couple more, but Rob, go ahead.
No, I was expecting you to ask the next question.
All right, I will. So, the element that occurred with Finn, where last year the seed was implanted because he took damage. Did you see that coming? Was that like so obvious to you as the role play was happening with Finn? You know, he comes up to you in the tavern, and he's, you know, kind of sallow-faced and hollow-eyed, and did it catch you by surprise at all?
Yeah, it caught me by surprise. I had no idea that you were going to do a xenomorph deal at the end of the adventure. That was totally by surprise. When we met him in the bar, I was just thinking, this is great. You know, John's playing him, you know, or Don was playing him to the best because he was, you know, looked like he hadn't slept in months.
Exactly. Yes.
You know, and that's what the fear of the OverGourd will do to you. He don't want to close his eyes because he's afraid if he opens them, there it'll be. So and so that's what I thought. I did not for one second think that he was seated.
What about you, Robert?
The xenomorph portion of it was a nice surprise. It's one of those things where it's like you're trying not to metagame it, but you know, I thought we were being set up. I mean, and
sure.
Well, my character, granted, my character had good reason to be thinking he was being set up because nothing was making sense. The whole situation wasn't making sense to him. So I was kind of like, I had that feeling that Finn was going to bring us there and abandon us, which was why I was so adamant that he was going nowhere and that I was going to, you know, if he tried to leave, I was going to kill him.
So abandonment was your sort of like worst case scenario.
Well, abandonment, but I mean, almost to the point where that was the contract for him being able to stay alive, since he's still here a year later, was finding adventurers to sacrifice, or adventurers or other types to sacrifice to the OverGourd. So it's like, yeah, nope, he's not running away this time because he's not going to get very far.
Right. Drunken Heretic said the Elder Gourd wants to force us to eat squash with every meal. Probably true. So the Elder Gourd OverGourd had put that seed into Finn a year before. And so that was the whole point, as I mentioned on the stream. But for those that didn't see it, he was haunted. Waking up at night, it was growing xenomorph. It was happening inside of his body. He was being transformed. And the whole Smeagol model was something that I talked about with Don probably a month before the stream, and told him to think about how he would play that in a way that would not overplay the hand. You know, didn't want to be so obvious that everyone knew at the beginning. And I thought Don did a great job with it.
Oh yeah, he did a fantastic job with it.
All right, so Mike, do the seeds have to be hydrated spread? So if you were to roast them or dehydrate them, would they still spread? That's a Halloween question, I think.
Nope. They sink into the ground. When they hit it, they sink into the ground. They don't need to be watered. They don't need to be, you know, anything. They don't need to be tended after.
All right.
I mean,
Go ahead.
for me, if I was if I had a character that knew what this thing could do and how it spread and how the seed spread, it'd be going and finding a conclave of wizards to not only kill the thing, but scorch the earth afterwards, and then turn everything to stone. Just hey, new patio.
New patio. So, Mike, you critiqued me earlier. It came up. No. I mean, if you were to cast destroy water on the overgourd, would it render the seeds useless? I think is the question. Like if a mimic, we're getting all kinds of crazy. So you have like dehydration of the gourd affecting the seeds. Question. I have answers to this, but Mike, I'll let you take it.
I really don't know how to answer that.
To me, it's the same as any other monster. Like you could take things to the extreme, and destroy water could potentially render seeds useless, but there would be saving throws. And with that legendary action, the Overgourd could overcome that. Steve said he only played TSR editions. Not sure what that is. The Druidic Knight is from Mystara. Yeah, we don't use that here, but I get that. A neutral traveling fighter of 9th level or higher. Same as a paladin. That's going back, I think, to Pat. Pat, we'll talk offline, and I'm teasing. I'm not banning Pat. I love Pat. It's a love-hate relationship Pat and I have. Kind of like Robert. And then we have, if a mimic swallows a gourd seeding, which evil will survive? The mimic, the gourd, or the hybrid of the two?
It would just like it took out Finn. It would take out the mimic. The mimic's not going to survive.
Exactly. The mimic will be impregnated by the gourd seed.
Yep.
Oh, another monster. I see it. So, Mike, as we wrap up here tonight, I do want to come back to your Etsy store and make sure people know where they can support you. But as you look toward next year, the Overgourd was not easily defeated. He was briefly charmed by the bard. Vivi played Abby, rather, and the bard was charming. The Overgourd fled with dread clutched in one of his vines. How would you like to see the Overgourd, Eldergourd, Dreadgourd appear next year?
Now, would it be...
Whatever you want, it would be.
It would be a Dreadgourd and the Eldergourd, correct?
Whatever.
The Eldergourd's not turning into the Dreadgourd. That's like he would impregnate Dread, and Dread would give birth to the Dreadgourd. Is that what you're saying?
I'm asking, and I just love what you said. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's how I would see it.
So, Rob, what would the Dread Gourd... And the main point I want to make here is, like, we're not changing Mike's lore. This is Mike's creation. The point that Mike wanted to make, he and I talked about this a couple of days ago, is that every DM, every game system and world should be able to adapt the Overgourd and make it your own. Bring it to life. Mike relishes seeing these variants and these other ways of telling the story with the Overgourd. Am I misstating that, Mike? I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think that's what I heard.
No. I totally. This is one of the main things that I love about doing this and seeing everybody take the Overgourd and make it theirs. You know, just like with painting the miniature of the Overgourd, I love to see everybody's different take on it. You know, it's just as much as playing it. So that's the great thing about the Overgourd. He's not just a miniature. He's an actual monster in D&D now. So, you know, it's pretty awesome.
So the chibi gourd is pretty cool, Pat, no doubt. I will not fight you on that. I will fight you on other things, but not that. But this idea that you can take such a cool creature and adapt it, there are very few other creations you can do that with. I've got Tiamat back here. It's a monstrous WizKids mini. I've got, so the OverGourd is so ripe for adaptation and unique creations. Rob, if we have the Dread Gourd next year, what would it look like?
In terms of, how it would work, or
no, physically, what would it look like? Mike knows what I'm asking.
I mean, are you asking if the pumpkins have beards? Because
was the beard really the hallmark of Dread?
Are you talking about doing a mohawk?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing.
The Dread Gourd, yes, I am.
See, the funny thing is, my thought with the Dread Gourd would be is if you're basically turning a dwarven fighter into a Dread Gourd, my thought would be where the standard Overgourd likes to toy with its prey. The Dread Gourd would be just pure out brutal, just smash.
I like that.
Yeah, this one is not. This one is not interested in having fun with you. It's looking to just annihilate you. It's fun. It doesn't care if you're having fun.
Well, so if you missed the stream on Friday, and I'm sorry if this has been sort of eclectic in that direction, but it was so much fun. And here is, let me pull him up. This is Dread. Dread was the stogie smoking mohawk adorned PC played by Mike Disney. And Mike, I think you and I, we can work together on this this year. We need to see some element of Dread who was yanked away by the Elder Gourd, and we'll create a special version of the Dread Gourd for next year. Yeah, it was an awesome.
Mohawks and stogies.
Oh, I didn't even think about this. Yeah, that would be fun too. Yeah. All right, so the Tiamat question for storage, I'll pull that up as I'm pulling out my Tiamat. Storage is simply just sitting on I don't have a table like Jay's. I don't have a huge basement, but I have oh my gosh, this thing is so heavy. Caladrax and Calagon is fighting me. Got it, trying not to destroy the ship from Fraley 17. And here is the gorgeous
Tiamat. Whoa, that looks badass.
Isn't that cool?
Nice.
What is that? What is that from, John?
This is WizKids. It's all part of this sucker came out as a Kickstarter, I think, initially, and I got it a few months ago. I have not put. I have some of my most fun. I don't think Fraley's in the chat. I have. Well, hang on. So we're just showing minis here because I know Mike loves these. This is from Manda. This incredible paint of this frost giant. Mystical Unicorn did this. I can't do it too close on this camera because it won't autofocus. But this is awesome. I have this from Fraley, which will be appearing on Blue Box at some point soon. You say I can't see it. That's the whole point. It's so dark, so nasty, so absolutely insidious. All right, so as we close, Mike, you are an artisan, you're a creator, and Etsy is the place that people can support your work. Please talk about your work and what you have on your Etsy channel, and how anyone in this chat, and there is love for you. We raised a lot of money on Friday night. The moment I said this is for Mike, it blew up with people just giving, and that heart is still in this community, Mike. So what else can we do to support your channel, your Etsy, anything else?
Just coming in and watching, really, and just hanging out. That's the best support is just hanging out with me and positive attitudes and just being positive and enjoying yourself and enjoying the hobby and hanging out with me while I paint. That's the best support that you could really give me, honestly. Any other support is, my Etsy. That's how I make my living, really, is Twitch and Etsy. um I have a lot of things on Etsy, mainly D&D miniatures. uh yep, Pat Draws just said I have a Marvel United X-Men set for sale on my Etsy as well. Everything painted, that you get the whole game too, not just the miniatures. um there's quite a few things, mainly all D&D miniatures on my Etsy. But other than that, Twitch supporting channels, and just coming in and hanging out while I paint. That's the best thing, and just being a part of community too. That's another thing. I love this community so much, and to see people in all the channels that means a lot to me too. It's motivating, and it's inspiring. And without motivation and inspiration, there is no creativeness. So you guys keep doing that, and that sees you through.
No, well said, Mike. Thank you. And the Etsy channel, have we popped that link in the chat? I'm sure. Yep, there it is. I see it. Check that out. You can see the link tree for Mike Disney in the chat. Manda is always on top of it. Thank you, Manda. You can bring your zombie dragons next year. Absolutely. What else am I missing here in the chat? So much support for you, Mike. Awesome Marvel United. You already read that from Pat. You have the Mike is a talented dude. No doubt about that. Mike is an awesome channel. Fabulous. Yeah, his music, always great playlists. It's a great channel and link, and it's all of it. So Larry, the whole team, thank you so much for supporting Art of Mike Disney and the OverGourd. I'm going to give Pat Draws one more word of just utter remonstration. Pat, you are a nefarious creature, akin to Robert's poorly designed anti-paladin. Final thoughts, Robert?
Well, so yeah, I mean, yeah, listen, the Overgourd is amazing. Mike is amazing. And Mike and I will be, for the third time in 9 days, we'll be appearing on a stream together, nice. This coming Saturday. Saturday morning, we will be playing on Lord Gazuma's channel. What time are we getting started? Like 9 a.m. Eastern or 9:30 Eastern or something like that?
9 a.m.
So yeah.
And what's that game? Is that one of the Barbarian games?
No,
Tim?
This is
Go ahead.
One of the Ulick campaign.
Knights of Ulick.
Nice.
With Skarn, with my dwarven cleric. So
yeah, I'll be playing a dwarven fighter thief, which is really, really cool.
And that'll be Saturday at what time?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock Eastern.
That's Eastern. So 9 Eastern on Lord Gazumba's channel. You'll see both these talented men. And please join them. Mike Disney is one of our amazing sponsors. Mike, we love you so much. We appreciate all that you do. And Mike, we will give you any final thoughts.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate everything that you guys have done for me. And Friday was just, it was hard to keep it together. Like it is right now. So
it's going to be much harder next year, my friend. You wait and see.
Thank you very much,
Mike. I have the privilege of talking to Mike off stream at times. I just want everyone to know he is more real, more sincere, more talented, better than you think. Anything you think you know about Mike that you see on stream, he is 5 times that off stream. Mike, we love you, my friend. Thank you, all the Mad Chatters. Robert, thank you as our mod of the day. Thank you for all the support in the stream. Check out the Etsy channels, and we'll be back Sunday with Tears of Aird. Cameron was super active in chat tonight. Thank you, Cameron. She'll be with us. Hopefully, we'll do some cosplay on Sunday as well. Thank you for all the new chatters. I see many of you in the chat. Oh, before we raid, we have one question for you today. If you're watching and you haven't followed, if you're a follower and you've not subbed, or you're a sub whose sub has expired, our one question for you tonight is, what are you doing? Give us a follow, give us a sub at Blue Box. We love all of you. Thank you so much. And rating Lord Gazumba 3, 2, and 1.